Tesla, by the way, is getting hammered, right?
It is getting hammered, and for the same reason. And the other thing is that, everyone's worried about what Donald Trump would do with policy making on Twitter. Elon Musk is doing with business decisions, etc. on Twitter, just announcing them.
The man's got a big brain, Mangalo. So I mean, he'll figure. And I think Substack will be much smaller kind of.
But it's a rival, right? I mean, it's an online publishing platform.
It's a publishing platform.
So I guess.
Yeah, but it's like a blog.
It's an ancillary. Yeah, it's an ancillary against just a direct rival.
Okay, all right. Market Lazer, where we kind of identify trends or turning points or things which are happening in the market which may be useful to you. Yesterday we put out the China reopening and how two sectors, oil and metals, perhaps should be in focus because what China reopening does is it steadies prices for both metals, commodities, with China being the largest consumer of most things, and oil as well. Same reason. Now, I'm looking at charts here. Yesterday, we just looked at the reason, and the reason only came out the day before evening, so it was fresh. But prices have reacted, and they are now at interesting junctures. So I'm going to put out three charts. Hindalco, Tata Steel, and JSPL. The first one on your screen is Hindalco. Let me just pull this up on my screen as well. Hindalco is now, after yesterday's bounce, at exactly at the trend line, which is falling from the 28th of March 2022. As you can see, it's a clean downward sloping trend line, and these things work. I mean, the first touch point was, of course, the start was, as I mentioned, the high. Then there was a touch point on the 5th of December, which is earlier this month. Prices corrected because there were fears, remember, especially last fortnight, whether this reopening in China will play out or not, infections are spiking, etc. So after touching this trend line, it failed. I mean, prices broke down, made a low, which was day before yesterday. The low was about 447, and from there, from 447, it's bounced to 471. It's kind of knocking up against this downward sloping trend line. So a break of this perhaps brings more gains. Which is the next one? Let's have the next chart, which is JSPL is what we're looking at. Now, this is a simple kind of chart. JSPL, after yesterday's bounce, for all these kind of commodity names, metal names, what you see in the last fag end of the chart is the last 2 weeks where, prices corrected because of what was happening in China, COVID fears, etc. But, the announcement, major announcement for incoming passengers, inbound passengers into China, which we highlighted yesterday, is kind of made it clear that they're on the path to reopening. JSPL is basically back at the highs of April 2022, earlier this year. It's exactly back there. And the last one we are highlighting is Tata Steel, which, there's a downward sloping trend line, which I think is self-explanatory. It starts from August of 2021. There's a touch point around April of 2022. And those levels right now will come in at about 123, 125. But it's basically bounced back above the rising support trend line as well, which was from the low of June of 2022. June 2022, then October 2022, and a break and then a rebound, all within the last 4 sessions or so. So, three charts, Hindalco, JSPL, and Tata Steel, all interestingly poised as we start another day. The index yesterday was up about 4% or so. Let's put some of these points to Amit Dixit, analyst at ICICI Securities. He's joining us right now. Amit, great to have you with us here. Good morning. Thanks very much for your time. We discussed the news yesterday and just the price action from yesterday's session. But what is your sense? Is there more to go? And to your mind, is China the big dominating driver?
Yeah, hi. Good morning, Prashant. Yeah, of course, wherever commodities are concerned, particularly steel, aluminium, China is the main driver and still continues to remain the main driver with 50% production and 50% consumption. Now, coming to the chart movement or the stock price movement itself. Well, if you look at the metals pack, over last 1 month, practically we hadn't done anything. And as far as China reopening is concerned, we have to wait against the COVID infections as well. So while the policy to ease the COVID restrictions and finally reopening is welcome, but at the same time, one has to see it with the prism of the rising infections that might actually pour cold water on the nascent rally. I would like to draw parallels between this kind of stock price movement with December 20, when we exactly saw the similar price movement. By the way, if you look at the global steel prices per se, they have moved up by around 15 to 20% in last 1 month, largely because of iron ore prices moving up. Iron ore prices back to 115, 118 from $90, while coking coal prices have remained robust. Stable, I would say, at around 270. Now, because of global prices moving up, we would have seen the same rub-off in the Indian steel stocks as well, and particularly when the consumption growth is not all too bad, and the fourth quarter we would see good growth. Traditionally, it has been seasonally a good quarter. So, everything bodes well, except for there is one joker in the pack, which is the China's restrictions coming back because of rising COVID infections. That is the only risk that I see, and a significant risk on top of that.